Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to today's episode of Morning Wealth. It seems like I'm dealing with two realities. You read all the headlines in the news and you sleep. You wake up in the morning to see how it is translated into the equity performance, and the equity markets are up. It's just remarkable how the equities have just kept powering ahead through all this mayhem that we are seeing in the markets. Anyway, so three things that we will talk about. Where do we stand on the new relief package? An earnings roundup, and we'll also touch upon a little bit more on the US dollar and its drivers and what to look forward to in this week. US stocks rose on Monday as investors bet that the largest technology firms will power ahead in an uncertain economic environment. Amazon, Google, Apple led the major indexes higher, extending a rise that has helped make the tech sector the best performer in the S&P 500 index so far. The broad stock market was up 0.7%, Dow was up about 0.4%, and the Nasdaq was up 1.7%. Gold touched its highest level ever with prospects of $2,000 an ounce. A weak dollar and negative US real rates have spurred a rally, and this week's Fed meeting may open a path for further increases. The 10-year yields were up to about 0.61%. 10-year yields have been hovering around this level for quite a bit now. The dollar dropped across the board with the euro, the yen and the Scandies leading the gains. Oil advanced. Asian equity futures are narrowly mixed. Senate Republicans propose cutting weekly supplemental unemployment benefits to $200 from $600 in their new relief package, which Democrats preemptively rejected as insufficient. The Trillion Plan could send $1,200 payments to most Americans and shield businesses from pandemic-related lawsuits. Steve Mnuchin and the White House Chief of Staff, Mark Meadows, are set to meet the Democratic leaders Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer later in the day to kick off negotiations. Remember, the Democrats have already passed the $3 trillion plan 2 months ago. And, the gap is wide. The Republicans are talking about 1 trillion while the Democrats are talking about 3 trillion. On the equity side, Moderna kicked off its phase 3 COVID-19 vaccine study in the US. The test will weigh its safety and efficacy in about 30,000 people across 89 sites. Early results will be available by November is what Anthony Fauci said. Shares soared about 9.2% after it got a second round of US funding for the vaccine announced over the weekend. Earnings roundup, LVMH profit from recurring operations totaled about 1.69 billion euros in the first half, less than estimated as customers curbed luxury fashion purchases faster than the company could cut costs. So revenues fell about 38% on an organic basis. Up next, liquor giant Kweichow Mouthai's first half figures could shine some light on whether demand for pricey bottles of Baijiu has offset any effect from China's economic slowdown. McDonald's same-store sales may have fallen about 24%. This is according to Bloomberg Intelligence. Analysts are expecting a profit of about 74 cents a share. Investors will be focusing on new commentary about its June performance plus the third quarter. Pfizer is more than just its promising COVID vaccine. Analysts are focused on how the company's sales have been hurt by the pandemic, with Bloomberg Intelligence cautioning that expectations around its blockbuster Prevnar vaccine may be too high. 3M sales may slide up to 20% is what some of the analysts are expecting. On the fixed income side, AT&T is looking to sell 11 billion of bonds to buy back other obligations as the world's most indebted company tries to refinance cheaply. It has roughly 169 billion pile that has made it the world's largest borrower outside the financial companies. On FX, investors sent the dollar tumbling against all major currencies, and this drove dollar CHF to its weakest level in more than 5 years and Euro USD to its strongest in 2 years. After breaking down last week, dollar yen accelerated its slide as well, dropping to its lowest level in 4 months. The ongoing confusion on the fiscal package is playing its part in pushing the dollar lower, but we also have to look for the GDP number that economists are expecting will contract by about 35% in the second quarter. But the data may be much worse. If you look at Atlanta Fed, for example, they are predicting a 52.8% decline from their nowcast model. 10-year yields continue to fall, and we've spoken about this. In spite of all the equity action, the yields have hardly moved, and the yields are still stuck near the 0.6% mark. 10-year treasury yields continue to fall, hovering not far from the record lows. This decline is a reflection of the market's concern about the US economy and their expectations of a dovish Fed. The US dollar fell the most against the euro and the yen. The slide in the dollar yen was no surprise. It was only a matter of time before the pair would break down. It's also a busy week for earnings, and any negative results could further trigger the weakness in the dollar yen. The rally in the euro US also makes sense as Europe continues to lead the recovery. Last week's PMI, we have spoken about it, confirms the region's ongoing recovery. Second quarter GDP numbers are also due for release for the Eurozone and Germany. While growth is expected to contract at a faster pace, the decline in the Eurozone will be more moderate than the US. So the Eurozone expectations are anywhere between negative 11% to negative 15%, which is very different from the negative 35 to 50% that we are expecting in the US. That's your update. Stay safe and healthy, everyone, and speak soon.